Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Vintage Weekends. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Aurora, I'm from Italy and I love everything that has to do with vintage. So in this channel I talk about vintage clothes, accessories, home decor and of course vintage weekends all around Italy and all around the world. Today you are gonna join me in the second part of my vintage holiday in Sardinia. It has been a wonderful trip with my husband Fabiano, so let me share the best moments with you. We will see amazing old places, do a lot of vintage shopping together and eat good Italian food. So without further ado, let's go on holiday. As we are vintage lovers, we chose a vintage bed and breakfast and we are always looking for new inspirations. So this was the breakfast room with old couches, with some kind of jungle vintage style and shabby chic details. I also like these with damask fabric. And look at this ancient picture. This was a Sardinian wedding in 1914 with the traditional dresses. On the wall there is one of those ancient handmade carpets that we talked about in my other video. The garden is an orchard with figs and olive trees with old bicycles and flowers and also vintage mini scooter. I like these compositions and everything is very relaxing. There is also a swimming pool with its inhabitants. So we decided to visit the small San Salvatore di Sinis town that is famous because it looks like an old town in Texas, and in the 60s it has been the set for many Western movies. This is one of those. I didn't know it. Anyway, it is still a good scenographic place with curious details. In the afternoon, we walked in the San Giovanni di Sinis peninsula. From the ancient tower, you can see the ruins of the ancient Roman town of Tarros. It's a very fascinating place and we stayed till sunset walking on the old Roman pathways and on the dunes where these white flowers grow on the sand. This place is a typical Sardinian restaurant and their specialty is pork meat cooked on the spit. Not exactly my ideal diet, but I like to try different dishes. And there's no holiday without some vintage hunting. Here we are in Oristano and this is one of the shops that we visited. My husband found the Ruta decorative plate nice, but I have better ones. This one is from Rouen, from France, and the price seems good, but out of budget for today. These beautiful illustrations are etchings. Correct me if I'm wrong, so they are kind of printed on paper, and they are so cool and I love the colors. I'm still looking for the right plate rack to put in our kitchen, and this one has a nice shape, but I think it's too small and also too dark. I know Mila Schön as a stylist, but it seems that she did also some design works like this frame. And here we have woven baskets, typical handwork from Sardinia. You saw some of them in my previous video. For example, this is made with asphodel leaves from this plant. A nice set of pots and dishes from Vietri sul Mare, an Italian town close to Naples. This tea set is interesting. It seems from Morocco or something like that. Well, if you know where these are from, please tell me because I'm very curious. A mini jug from Deruta, always Italian pottery. Okay, I love these small paintings of flower bouquets. They are so cute. I can imagine them on the wall of a shabby chic room. They are so romantic, and they are signed too. Looking at the other shelves, I found 2 other similar paintings, and these are painted on copper, like the one that I showed you in my previous video. I wonder if this could be a typical technique from some Italian city. Again, if you know something about these, please tell me in the comments. An ancient typical dress from Sardinia, white shirt, a long black skirt, and this beige apron. Not a very happy dress. Hey there! If you like Italy and vintage hunting, please consider subscribing to my channel. I like woven bags, and this year I bought a couple of them and I discovered that they match very well with many summer outfits. This is the bigger brother of my wooden heron, and these are hand-carved pieces, so they are all different one to another. I've got this in my sleeping room. The color is slightly different, it is super useful, and I use it to store my jewels so they are not exposed to the dust, but I can always see what's inside through the glass door, and the mirror on the back enlightens the items so I can see them better. Under the table I found another woven basket. This is bigger than the other one. I like that you can hang this on the wall, maybe in your kitchen to store napkins or dippers, or also garlic and chili. It would be so nice and country style. My husband has good eye for vintage stuff too, and he spotted this Florentine tray that I didn't see during the first tour of the shop. This is an Italian handmade piece. As you saw on my previous video, I love jewelry boxes from Florence with the same kind of decoration, and the green and golden tones of this tray are amazing. It's a pity that it got so damaged. I guess I'm going to pass on this one. In our bed and breakfast, in the breakfast room that I showed you at the beginning of this video, there is a big vase similar to this one, and it seems that the lines are made with a rope. I like these neutral colors. So, after this vintage full immersion, we planned to go on a train trip. This special train is called Trenino Verde, the green train, and it is an original one from the 50s. Here in Sardinia, they try to preserve their traditional trains and railways. In fact, there are some railway lines that have become almost exclusively for tourists. The first stop was close to this nuraghe. It was smaller than the one that we visited in the first part of this Sardinian adventure, but it is well preserved, and we had a small walk all around it. The second stop was in a restored roadman's house. Once it was a station, and now it's a coffee shop. was a very hot day. We arrived to our final destination, the small town of Laconi. Here the station is well restored and you can still read the old writings. Walking through the town, we met a white Fiat 500 and as I love vintage cars, I had to include it in this video. I wish I could ask him to pick us up instead of walking. Then we visited the huge Aymeric Palace with its menhir museum. Okay, so the female menhirs had a sort of face and then there some kind of corn cob, meaning fertility, while the male menhirs had a kind of sword. This palace is famous for its stunning wallpapers with their precious prints representing romantic and mythological histories. We should remember that in the 18th century they didn't have the TV, so they probably spent some time telling these stories. In this room, the wallpapers represent the city of Paris, with Notre Dame on the background. Close to the Aymeric Palace, there is a big park with mossy waterfalls, and there are the ruins of an ancient castle with the most Instagrammable. Can I say Instagrammable? Well, the most photogenic window that I ever found. This was the last manual rail crossing and our journey on a vintage train was over. The following day we wanted to relax on this famous beach called Kanemalu, but it was the strangest beach that I've ever seen. It was like walking on the moon with the craters and a small pointy rock everywhere. It was not easy to plant our umbrella, but finally we found a solution. This place is famous for its particular hole on the rocks. People used to jump off from here, but we were too scared, so we chose a lower rock. Maybe this was too low. Anyway, look at this unusual landscape, and the water is so blue. In the evening, we had dinner in Bosa, a small and colored town close to the port. It was a good occasion to eat spaghetti with seafood. Delicious! Another sunny hot day, another archaeological site to discover. Here we were in the ancient Roman town of Nora, and I must say that they were always choosing the best location for their towns. Here there are the ruins of the theater and these beautiful mosaics on the floor of an elegant house. I can't imagine how wonderful this house could have been.
Saluta la gente.
Hola.
And finally, yes, we found a beautiful and comfortable beach. Hello! This one is known for its pebbles of pink quartz, and I found some to show you. This is the last beach that we saw. We went on a kayak tour under that big arch. It was a beautiful place and we stayed till sunset. It was our last evening in Sardinia. We had to celebrate with typical pizza and sliced ham, and we were so lucky because we found a country festival with live music and the street market. This is the end of our vintage holiday. I hope you enjoyed coming around with us, and I hope to see you again in my next videos. Bye!